And I'm going slow too, man.
St. Catherine's was a school that I went to and grew up in. I was there from first grade up. Well, as it happened, when I was a small kid, they were renovating this whole church, and so they gold leafed the domes and the walls, and they had frescoes on the walls, and so anyways, I used to go in every day and stand and watch these guys, and I didn't know what they were doing. So one day, one of the workers came over to me and he wanted to know why I was there, and I told him that I was just looking. So he asked if I was interested in art, and I told him yeah. So these guys let me come over. In fact, they invited me to come over every day after school, and they placed me in a pew, and they'd say, Anthony, you stay there. They didn't want me to get hurt or get in their way. But everything that they were doing, they would tell me about it. And now it's exciting when I think back on it, but they would mix plaster and color and haul it up to the ceiling with ropes. Well, I didn't know what they were doing, and one day one of the guys showed me, they had a large drawing, and the drawing must have been over 10 feet tall. And it was on a brown paper, like butcher's wrapping paper. So at any rate, the word was cartooning. He said, this is a cartoon. My idea of a cartoon was a joke or comedic stories in Sunday papers. So at any rate, he showed me how they were going to do this, and they had a drawing on the floor, and he had a tool that was like, it had a handle and a rowel on it, like a spur with little spikes. So what he did was he traced around the outline of this drawing, and then he said when they take it up to put it on the wall, they'd mount it on the wall, and then he had a bag of charcoal. I mean, there was charcoal in a bag. It was a pouncing bag. So he'd take the bag, mount the drawing on the wall, and then pounce with this charcoal-filled bag. And then when he lift the drawing away from the wall, he'd have a stipple, like a little dot of that drawing, dot outline, so then they would connect it by a drawing again. So that drawing looked exactly like the drawing from the original drawing on paper. And at any rate, from that, they could work on the areas that they wanted to color. And so it was interesting. So even the word cartooning as was applied to this as an art form, I'd forgotten all about it until I went to art school. And one day my art history teacher was talking about frescoing, and all of a sudden he said the word cartooning. And that's when I had an immediate flashback to when I was a little kid. I'd seen this whole thing. So I remember telling him about it, and he was excited, and that I was the only one in class that had ever seen this and actually take place. So I think that was interesting. I went in service in 1953. I was 18 years old. I sort of ran away from home is how it developed, and went into the service. And but anyways, I eventually was assigned to, or I volunteered to go airborne right off the street. So I went to Fort Bragg in North Carolina, and my unit was 82nd Airborne Division is what I was assigned to, and where I did a year and a half of my duty. And some of these landscapes, especially the ones with the dark skies and gray or gray colored tone grounds, I've been told is that from other people that maybe my landscapes are a product of the sensations visually that I had in terms of jumping at night or early morning jumps where it's hard to distinguish clear and colored forms, so you see them in terms of a grayscale. And the landscapes are bleak because the drop zones are bleak. They're just giant, you could almost say fields, larger than, the length would be much larger than Belle Isle here in Detroit, and Belle Isle is about 7 miles long and 3 miles wide. And these drop zones are much larger than that, so they're just great, vast, empty spaces. When I was a kid, I was intrigued by parachuting from what I'd seen in films and in books. So there was a time when I tried jumping off garages with friends of mine with sheets, but we always hit the ground, and we never had a soft landing. So I couldn't figure out what was happening, except that with the sheet, you had to hold all four corners. So you had two corners in each hand, so you didn't get any real, there was no stopping the air, you know, you just went straight down, and it was like not holding anything at all. So anyways, I had an idea of having one of the youngest, smallest guys in our group, which was a kid that lived next door to me, Chucky Rocket, to convince him to hold the sheet and jump off the top of this garage. And what my buddies and I did was we had another sheet that we were standing at all four corners and in between on the sides, holding it to slow down Chucky's descent. But what happened is when he jumped off this garage, he went right through the sheet. And in fact, he sprained his leg, he's screaming and everything. But anyways, it sounds kind of crazy, but for a kid, I was a little kid, and I thought, oh, that was maybe the beginning of my first adventures. So anyway, I got out in '56, and so yeah, I moved back home, and that was kind of an interesting time too, because that was, even though I never considered myself as such, but the beat era. And so a lot of things were going on, a lot of energy in the air. I mean, art-wise, and when I say art, I mean literature and films and painting, and Pollock was one of the people of the day, and de Kooning, and Ginsberg was around, and Fellini's movies. I mean, it was like in the air. If you were involved in anything, if you read anything, I mean, you had to run across these people by name, or read their works, or seen their films. Or, I mean, people were talking about them, and what's sort of odd in comparing that and today is that then it would seem that everybody knew all these things. I mean, you didn't have to be a writer to know about different writers. You didn't have to, you know, as a painter, lay people knew all this too. Today, each group is focused on its own self. And even in art, you get people that say today, if you're a sculptor, you don't paint, or if you're a painter, you never sculpt. Then, drawing was the foundation for everything. If you couldn't draw, you couldn't paint, you couldn't sculpt. I mean, it gave you some insight into what you were searching for. Drawing is a means to understand these things that you're looking at. And I try and instill the same thing in the students that I have today.